You're audible and visible, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll give a couple of minutes for some members to join.
Okay, sir.
We already have a few members who have joined. Maybe we'll start at 12:05. 2 more minutes. So we'll start the meeting now. Very good afternoon to everyone. It's 5 past noon on 15th of June, and we start the meeting. I welcome you all to the 28th AGM of your company. The meeting was originally scheduled on 8th of June, which was adjourned to today. Thank you to the members who have joined this meeting today. The notice of this meeting was circulated on 15th of May and to convene this 28th annual general meeting along with copy of the reports and audited accounts for the financial year ended 31st March 2020. And this was circulated to all the members through email. With your permission, I shall take them as read. Excuse me. This meeting is being held through video conference and other audiovisual means because of this ongoing pandemic situation. This is in compliance with the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the Government of India, and the Securities and Exchange Board of India. The company has taken all feasible steps to give an opportunity to the members to participate in this AGM and to vote. The requisite quorum is now present, and therefore I call this meeting to order. The register of directors, KMP, and their shareholding, and the register of contracts and the arrangements in which directors and KMPs are interested are available and can be shared with members for the inspection electronically if you so desire. You can send an email to the RTA, KFintech, and they will provide access. I welcome the partner of our auditors, statutory auditors, Sharp and Tanner, Mr. Mandhar to Ganekar to join this meeting, and also Ms. Neha Poddar, who is the secretarial auditor of the company, is present in the meeting. As I have informed earlier that all the directors and the KMPs, as CEO, company secretary, the CFO, they all had resigned from the company prior to June 2019. But there are a couple of senior members who remain in the company and continue to support me and assist me during this insolvency process. I welcome Mr. Rajesh Prasad and Mr. Gautam Acharya from Jet Airways in this meeting, and also Mr. Amit Jha and Mr. Jatinder Singh, who have been instrumental in assisting me during the CIP process. I would like to now inform the members that due to the financial stress, you will recall that your company had stopped or suspended operations back in April 2019. To be precise, 17th April 2019 was the last flight that took off for Jet Airways. And since then, the airline operations have been grounded. The banks made several efforts to try and revive the company, to restructure along with the previous promoters' management. However, after those efforts failed, they did file for insolvency under Section 7 of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. An application was made to the Honorable NCLT by the State Bank of India as the lead bank in the consortium. The Honorable NCLT then approved the admission of the company into the CIP process on 20th of June 2019, and I was appointed as the interim resolution professional, who was subsequently confirmed as the resolution professional of the company at the first COC meeting held on 26 July 2019. Sorry, 16 July 2019, I beg your pardon. So since then, I've carried out my duty and role as the resolution professional of the company, taking, custody and control of the assets of the business to undertake the various, while the airline was not flying, but operations were suspended, but there's still various assets scattered around the country at various airports, plus there were aircrafts in the company which had to be preserved and maintained, and various other formalities and day-to-day activities of the company were being carried out. So since then, I have been engaged in that with the support of Grant Thornton and with the support of the remaining some senior people in the team who have carried out, helped me in this activity throughout this period. So on one side, there was day-to-day sort of managing the affairs of the company, and on the other side, we were engaged in trying to find suitable investors or buyers who could help in reviving the business. So post commencement of the insolvency process, we actually had four rounds of EOI inviting potential bidders to submit a plan for the company, starting with the EOI process. We did get some interest in each of these rounds, but unfortunately in the first three rounds, there was no formal plan that was submitted by the interested bidders at the time. And also to remind you that, in starting from February, March 2020, one could see the onset of the COVID pandemic that hit all over the world, including, and the impact on the aviation sector was probably the most in amongst the industries that was felt. Despite that, we did, with the help of and the support of the lenders, we did run the EOI process once again. The fourth round of EOI process invited, four more bidders, interested bidders, and finally we received two resolution plans, in July 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic situation. So we continued to operate under those circumstances as well. And we got two resolution plans. These resolution plans, there was, subsequently several discussions, negotiations held between the committee of creditors, the bidders, and finally, in October 2020, One of the plans was approved by the COC with the requisite majority as per the IBC. As you might be aware that once the plan is approved by the COC, the next step is for me to file the application to the NCLT under Section 30, subsection 6 for approval of the plan by the Honorable NCLT, because that that approval from NCLT is prerequisite before it can be then further implemented. So we made so also I missed mentioning that the plan that was submitted by the consortium of Mr. Murali Lal Jalan and Mr. Florian Frisch, that was the successful resolution applicant whose plan was approved by the Committee of Creditors, and then it was submitted to the NCLT for approval. Since early November 2020, the matter has been under consideration by the Honorable NCLT in Mumbai. Several rounds of hearings have been held, and various aspects and issues related to the plan have been discussed in fair detail in the courtrooms as well. And in fact, last 3 days, there have been consecutive dates of hearing at Mumbai NCLT with regards to this resolution plan. And we are quite hopeful that one can expect to see the final order from the bench fairly soon. So that is the current sort of status as far as the CRP process or the insolvency resolution process is concerned. Now, if I move, with your permission, I move to the formal business in this meeting. I will give you a brief, summary of the financial statements for the year ended March 31st, 2020. If you recall, I just mentioned that the operations of the company had ceased on 17th April 2019. And even prior to that, the operations were gradually depleting. And for those of you who were, patrons of the airline, you will recall that right from September, October 2018, there were gradual reduction in the operations because of various reasons. And, the flights were getting cancelled and they were getting reduced. Finally, it ceased completely in middle of April 2019. So virtually the financial year 1920 had only 16 days of operations per se of the airline operations. Since then, there's been no further, operations, and only activities that have been carried out since then, as I mentioned, is, after we came in June, middle of June, to try and preserve and manage the remaining assets of the company, and, carrying out this searching for investors and, finding a potential resolution plan for revival of the company. So the revenues and, profits of the company that are reported in the audited financial statements for March 2020 appropriately reflects that. The revenue that was recorded in first 15-16 days of April, and some residual revenues that we found were unrecorded after we came in, accumulated up to 354 crores as compared to 23,000 odd crores in the previous year. And similarly, the expenses were much lower in that period at 2,400 crores compared to 28,000 crores in the previous period. So the total loss during this period, so financial year 1920, accumulates to 2,841 crores, including an exceptional item for 727 crores in this year. So there's further, that's right. So the total losses in the company, as I mentioned, for the year ended March 31st, 2020, was 2,841 crores. There were some exceptional items during this period as well, related to some, write back of aircrafts taken on, redeliveries of some aircrafts taken on finance lease, and there were some impairment of fixed assets, and some provisions made for doubtful advances and deposits, which added to about 726 crores. So the auditors, Messrs. Sharp and Tannen, have audited the financials, and they have made a few remarks and qualifications on the final audited accounts. And this was, the remarks were, replied satisfactorily, by us and the management of Airways, who was present during the time, and appropriately, captured in the audit report and the annexures as well. So, with the permission of the members present, may I take the auditor's report dated February 15, 2021 as read. For the annual accounts for the financial year 1920, the accounts were circulated to you by email already. With the permission of the members present, may I take the audited financial report of the company as read. The e-voting facility for your casting your vote on this agenda was already opened in the past and remains open even today during this conduct of this AGM. And in compliance with the provisions of Section 108 of the Companies Act and Rule 20 of the Companies Management and Administration Rules, your company has extended the voting facility to the members in respect of the business to be transacted in this 28th AGM. The e-voting portal remains open. If you look at your screen on the left-hand side bottom, you'll find a thumbs up symbol in blue. And if you click on that, you will be able to cast your vote until the conclusion of this meeting. Those who have already voted remotely until 7th of June, which was the day when the only meeting was, the day before the last meeting when it was called for, they need not vote again. But those who have not yet done that, they can please cast their vote now. After I received the scrutinizer's report, the results will be posted on the company's website and the stock exchange websites within 48 hours from the conclusion of this meeting. So with that, we complete the sort of formal business in this meeting. We have some esteemed shareholders in this meeting who would like to, say a few words or ask, seek some clarifications. So I would like to now request the administrator to kindly permit the members who had already registered with us in the past, please invite them into the meeting and let them ask their questions or share their views or comments one by one. Once they have all said what they wanted to say, I will then clarify or respond to the questions at the end. So requesting administrator to please take it forward from here.
Thank you, sir. I request Ms. Bharati Saraf from Kolkata to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your camera and ask your question, please. Ms. Bharati Saraf from Kolkata. Ms. Bharati Saraf has not joined the call at this moment, sir. Moving on to the next speaker, Mr. Dinesh Gopal Das Bhatia from Mumbai. Mr. Dinesh, we request you to unmute your audio, sir, switch on your camera and ask your question. We have not received any feedback from the speaker. Moving on to the next speaker, Mr. Sharad Kumar Jivraj Shah from Mumbai. Mr. Sharad Kumar, we request you to unmute your audio, switch on your camera and ask your question, sir. Mr. Sharad Kumar. Mr. Sharad Kumar, we request you to unmute your audio, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. And you can turn on your camera and you can ask your question, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Javrajka, you're not very audible. Your voice is breaking up, Mr. Sharad. Admin team, can you hear him? Because I'm not able to hear him.
No, so the voice is breaking. Mr. Sharad Kumar, we request you to kindly find a suitable location with a better connection.
you hear?
Mr. Sharad Kumar, we'll come back to you again. We'll come back to you again. Meanwhile, we have Ms. Bharati sir from Kolkata. Ms. Bharati sir from Kolkata, requested to unmute your audio, switch on your camera and ask your question, please.
एक मिनट सर वीडियो शेयर करने हाँ ठीक है 1 मिनट सर 1 मिनट अजीज सर
श्योर
नमस्कार
जी
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी एंड उपस्थित मेरे भाई और बंधु और शेयर होल्डर, आशा करता हूँ आप सब सुरक्षित होंगे और स्वस्थ होंगे सर। एक तो मेरे को ये कहना है कि मैंने 2 मीटिंग थी आपकी और दोनों मीटिंग में मैंने रजिस्ट्रेशन किया था और प्रियंका मैडम ने भी मेरे को कंफर्म किया था। तो बड़ा दुख हो रहा है कि पहली मीटिंग में आपने मुझे कोई मौका नहीं दिया, ना कोई लिंक भेजी सर। जब भी लास्ट टाइम आपने कहा था कुछ शेयर होल्डर बोलना चाहते हैं उनको मौका दिया जाएगा, जब आपने मीटिंग एजेंट की थी उस समय। कोई बात नहीं, अभी मौका मिला, काफी अच्छा है सर। एक तो सर मेरे कुछ क्वेरीज है, तो अगर हो तो जवाब देने लायक तो आप जरूर दीजिएगा जवाब। एक तो सर ये टोटल बैंक का कितना ड्यू है जी को जो क्लेम किया उन्होंने, बैंक ने कितना अमाउंट है जो उन्होंने क्लेम किया सर। एक सर ये जो एक्यूमुलेट जो लॉस है, जो डेप्ट है कितना हो गया सर, उसके बारे में बताइए एक्यूमुलेट टोटल। एक सर अपने हाथ में भी कितने एयरक्राफ्ट है जो अपने किसी को लीज पे दिए हैं या क्या रेंट में है और कितने कंट्रैक्ट पे दिए हुए हैं सर। एक सर ये कौन सी कंपनी है जिसका रिलेशन आपने एनएसएलटी को फॉरवर्ड किया सर, वह क्या कंपनी इंडियन है? अभी जो आपने रिलेशन 2 रिलेशन में एक रिलेशन जो एक्सेप्ट करके एनएसएलटी को फॉरवर्ड किया सर, वह कहाँ की कंपनी है, इंडिया की है या फॉरेन की है सर, बताने का कष्ट करिएगा सर। एक सर ये रिलेशन आपको आशीष साहब कब तक लगता है ये सॉल्यूशन निकल जाएगा है? और क्या सर मैं कहूँगा अच्छा नहीं लगेगा आपको, ये क्या हमारे कुछ जो पुराने शेयर होल्डर, हमने 1400-1500 रुपये हमें शेयर खरीदे थे सर, तो क्या हम लोग का कुछ शेयर की वैल्यू रहेगी या कहीं जीरो हो जाएगी? कि अभी देख रहे जितनी भी कंपनियां रिलेशन में पास हो रही है सर, चाहे वो एसआर को देख लीजिए, चाहे डीएफएल को देख लीजिए, चाहे वो आपको रोहित को देख लीजिए, सबकी जो इक्विटी शेयर की वैल्यू नील हो जा रही है सर। तो मैं चाहूंगा आप हमारे हित की रक्षा करेंगे सर, कम से कम हमें कुछ मिले। अदरवाइज बात दुख होगा कि बड़ी कष्ट रुपये कमाए हुए हैं और हमें लगाए सर। 1 मिनट समय ले रहा हूँ, बोल रहा हूँ, उनको बोलिएगा आपका राजू साहब को 1 मिनट समय देंगे बोलने के लिए, वो बहुत जल्दी करते हैं, उनकी गाड़ी एकदम राजधानी स्पीड से चलती है सर, तो उनको बोलिए वेट करने के लिए सर। एक सर काफी केस डिस्प्यूट पड़े हुए सर, तो जब रिलेशन प्लान पास होगा तो डिस्प्यूटेड केस की स्टेटस क्या रहेगी सर, ये बताने का कष्ट करिएगा सर। और सर ये 2020-21 की जो एनुअल मीटिंग है, ये तब कब तक 20-21 की जो अकाउंट है ये कब तक कंप्लीट हो जाएंगे सर, और कब तक आपके अंडर में शायद रहेंगे, तो कब तक ये एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग कॉल हो सकती है सर, इसकी अगर कोई समय बताइएगा सर। और आशा करता हूँ दिसंबर के पहले होगी तो ये वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस मीटिंग होगी जिसमें हम अटेंड कर सकेंगे सर। और ऐसे सर हमारे मैक्सिमम आप देख रहे हैं हमारे जितने भी जो आरपी है वो कलते से रिलेटेड है सर, कंपनी भी कलेक्ट करते हैं और हम भी कलते वाले हैं सर। तो मैं चाहूंगा कभी भी अगर फिजिकल मीटिंग भी करते हैं सर आपको, तो कम से कम 10-15 मिनट के लिए वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंस मीटिंग अवश्य करिएगा सर, जिससे हमें लास्ट टाइम में बोलने का हो सकता है कि हमारे लिए लास्ट हो हमें मिले सर। एक सर मैं यही आशा करता हूँ सर आपसे, आशीष साहब आप बहुत कर्णधार हैं और आप शेयर होल्डर की हितों की रक्षा करने की चेष्टा जरूर करेंगे, बाकी तो आपके हाथ में नहीं कि आप क्या कर सकते हैं। लेकिन मैं यही इसी शुभकामना के साथ मैं आपको बधाई देता हूँ। और सर कभी भी मतलब जब 2 मीटिंग हो तो 2 बार रजिस्ट्रेशन करेंगे तो थोड़ा बोलने का मौका मिलेगा सर। जिसका मेरे को दुख है कि मैंने आपको 8 तारीख को अटेंड करके कर मैंने 1 घंटे तक वेट किया सर, आपने अर्जेंट मीटिंग की और आज भी सुबह में अटेंड किया तो 10 आदमी का अपने नाम बुलाया और मैंने लिख के भेजा कि मेरे को बोलने का मौका दिया जाए, फिर भी नहीं दिया। लेकिन सर दुख है तो दुख ही रहेगा, उपाय नहीं है। लेकिन मैं आपसे बहुत खुश हूँ कि आपने मुझे मौका दिया और मेरी बातें सुनी सर। इसके अलावा कोई प्रश्न नहीं सर, तभी आ गए। और रिलीजन प्लान सर एक बताइए, कब तक आपको लगता है ये एनएसएलटी का अप्रूवल अपने को मिल जाएगा? और ये क्या कर सर हम लोग शेयर होल्डर को पता लग सकता है कि ये क्या इन्होंने प्लान सबमिट किया आपने है? अगर ऐसा हो तो बताइए सर। धन्यवाद, आप सभी को शुभकामनाएं 2021 की शुभकामना देते हुए नमस्कार करते हुए समझते हैं। जय हिंद, जय भारत, जय श्री राम।
नमस्कार। Admin team, can you please invite the next speaker?
Yes. Request the next speaker, Mr. Satish Jayantilal Shah from Mumbai, to kindly unmute your audio, switch on your camera and ask your question, please. Mr. Satish Jayantilal Shah. There is no response from the speaker, sir. Moving on to the next speaker, Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala from Mumbai. Mr. Yusuf, request you to unmute your audio, switch on your camera and ask your question, please. There's no audio input from the speaker. Moving on to the next speaker, Ms. Lekha Satish Shah from Mumbai.
Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can, Ms. Lekha. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Respected Chairman, Directors, and my fellow members, good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Lekha Shah from Mumbai. First of all, I'm very much thankful to our company secretarial team for sending very good investor services and also sending me the AGM notice well in time in such a difficult situation. So I am very grateful to our company secretarial Chairman sir. I pray to God that he always shower his blessing upon you. Sir, I am confident that with your vision and determination, you will lead our company to greater. And also, I pray to God the company should progress more and more under you and your team's work. Sir, ये डिफिकल्ट टाइम में भी मुझे कुछ भी क्वेश्चन, एक भी क्वेश्चन आपको पूछने का नहीं। मैं भगवान को प्रेयर कर रही हूँ, सब भी शेयर होल्डर मिलके आपके लिए हम लोग प्रेयर कर रही हूँ, कंपनी के लिए प्रेयर कर रही हूँ। एक दो अच्छे तरह से हम कंपनी एक दो अच्छे तरह से हो जाएगा सर। अपने जीवन में अप एंड डाउन सर, उसमें चिंता नहीं करने का, भगवान अपने साथ है, अच्छे हो जाएगा ये विश का सर। आई स्ट्रांगली सपोर्ट द स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन पोस्ट टुडे। I especially
now much better. Okay, now what I'm looking here, what presentation you have given, it was essential. But what you said, the issue is pending with NCLT. So what is the final value you recommended? That whatever Jet Airways having slots earlier, that new bidder or final person will not get it. That you have not made it clear. And my view is another thing, sir. These lenders, I am a very small shareholder. Still, I speak in the meeting. Last meeting also, whatever I have seen your report for 19, that 18, 19, 19, 20, there is nothing more. So to approve, and why you are not taking 20 by 21 meeting? And basically, what you have done a good job, whatever remaining assets are there of Jet Airways that you have protected. So that will be the only value of Jet Airways, nothing more than that. So, and I personally feel that I should not support the resolution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comments.
With that, all the speakers who have registered are given an opportunity to speak, sir. Now I hand it over back to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And banks and financial institutions or any finance lessors, etc., stands at approximately 7,450 crores. That is the value of the total dues for financial creditors as at 20th June 2019. Thereafter, there has been a moratorium. No banks have been able to charge any further interest or claim any further dues. So the amount is frozen at that level. One of the questions was regarding who is the resolution applicant. Is it an Indian company or an international or a foreign company? The the resolution applicants is actually the successful resolution applicant is a consortium, the approval of NCLT. The NCLT over the last few months has, on periodic dates, they have heard various aspects of the plan. And in the recent past, there have been some regular hearings. Now I understand the bench has completed its hearing, and they will be now taking a considered decision on the various aspects of the plan. So unfortunately, I'll not be able to preempt what the court might do. So all I can say is that I'm quite hopeful that it should be soon. Again, there was a question from both regarding the accounts for the financial year ended March 2021 and the AGM to be held for that. As you know, for the year ended March 21, the timeline for the AGM is actually 6 months from the end of the completion date. So there's time until, from the end of the year. So there's time until September. Currently, the accounts are in the process of being audited by the auditors. The accounts are prepared and shared with the auditors. We are quite hopeful that over the next 4 to 6 weeks we should be able to complete that process and share with you, and again call the AGM for the next financial year as soon as possible. There was a question regarding the resolution plan details. I think that was actually asked by both the speakers. On that, my response to you, sirs, will be that the contents of the resolution plan under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code are actually highly confidential in nature. I am not permitted by law to share details of the resolution plan. However, I do understand your interest and your curiosity to know what's in the plan, what's in it for us. The regulations do not permit me to share any details of the plan with the stakeholders outside the COC or the Committee of Creditors. However, the regulator has since considered this, and they made an amendment sometime last year. Late last year, they made an amendment in the regulations which says that within 2 weeks or within 15 days after the plan is approved by the Honorable NCLT, I will be informing the various stakeholders what the plan contains for the respective stakeholders. So while I'm not able to share details regarding the plan now, but within 15 days after the plan is approved by the NCLT, I will be sharing details of the respective, how the treatment has been under the plan for the various stakeholders. I apologize for that, but this is a regulatory constraint. I cannot divulge more than that at this stage. There was a question on, also related to that, there were questions about, what about the slots and what the government is deciding on that. Well, as you know, the matter is sub judice. There is a discussion going on, but that has happened in the courts as well. It was represented by the ministry. They were also present in the court, and the final outcome of that, whether the slots and how many of them can be made available for the revival of Jet Airways, etc., will depend on both the regulatory outlook or how the regulations are interpreted, as well as what the availability of slots are in the various airports. So, this matter is going to be decided both by the court as well as in close. I'm in regular consultation and coordination with the ministry and DGC officials. So, and we have always received a positive sort of support that they would be willing to support Jet Airways. So that is, I'm quite hopeful that it should work out. But unfortunately, we don't know as of now what the final outcome will be. I think the lenders have been very supportive throughout this process. They are not, as lenders of the company, they are not required to, lenders are required to attend this meeting. So I'm not sure whether any of the lenders have participated in this meeting, but I can tell you that during the course of this last, insolvency process, and even prior to that, the lenders have played a very proactive role, led by State Bank of India. I think I have answered all the questions that were posed. About how many aircrafts remain and have we given anything on lease, etc. So let me clarify that as of now, there are in total about 12 aircrafts which were not repossessed or prior to insolvency. So you see, most of the aircrafts, since you are a shareholder of the company, you might be aware that this airline business operates more on a leasing model, where aircrafts are leased in on operating lease basis, and they are for 5-year, 10-year, 15-year tenures, and they are not owned by the company. And if there is a default, the lessors have a right to repossess those aircrafts. So prior to airline shutting down and prior to the insolvency starting, several of these aircrafts were repossessed because of the failure of the company to meet its commitment, the payments. However, there were some aircrafts which were under finance lease and ownership of the company, and that continues to remain in possession. One of the aircrafts is in the possession of the Dutch trustee, there's a liquidation process going on in Netherlands. That aircraft was seized in Netherlands in April 2019, and that aircraft remains there under the possession of the Dutch trustee, and he's going to deal with that based on their regulatory requirements. And one aircraft has been given on sublease, that was given on sublease 5 years ago, and that aircraft is now, the sublease is due to be completed. The tenure of that is due to be completed soon. So I am taking steps for repossession of that particular aircraft. So that accounts for 2, and the remaining 10 are in India at various airports in India, and they are under the Jet Airways custody and possession, under my possession. So, and they are being maintained as per the OEM manuals. These aircrafts are not in airworthy condition. They have not been leased out to anyone. They are parked at various airports, mainly Delhi, Mumbai, and there's one in Hyderabad also, and where they are being maintained by engineers and technicians. So that is the status of the aircrafts, the fleet that remains with Jet Airways. So with that, I think I have responded to all the queries that were asked during this meeting. With no further questions being there, I think the business of this meeting is now over. I can declare the meeting concluded. Thank you once again, for the members who have joined this meeting, and I pray that you remain safe and secure during these difficult times that all of us are going through. I hope that we will see you again sometime soon in the next AGM for the next financial year. Thank you very much.
you.